the first step is to download the SEAB Social Studies PDF, which looks something like this, which is which the front cover says Singapore Cambridge GCE O Levels Humanities Social Studies History syllabus 2261, right? So it can be any subject combination, it can be geography, literature, or any other subject, but look for the combined sciences, social studies, history. I use this one. So the first step is to download this PDF. So where do you find this PDF? I'm going to show it to you. So we're going to go over here. All right, you're going to go to Google, type in Google and search SEAB Social Studies. Click the first one, which is this one. You will come across this PDF page with all the different content inside. Okay, then what do you need to do next is to go to the top right hand corner and download it. Download it and save it to your desktop or your laptop or wherever it is. Okay, now the second step is to have a Gemini account, right? Gemini basically is Google AI, right? Okay, so what do you need to do is you're going to upload the PDF onto Gemini, okay? And then you have to use a prompt, right? You have to type out something to give you the best outcome. So you're going to type this. You are a specialized teacher that have an experience in teaching social studies with the knowledge of AI over 10 years. 10 years of experience. Okay, I'm going to later explain why do you need to include this knowledge of AI stuff, okay? For the rest of the prompt, you have to type, I want you to create a social studies in-depth study guide for a student to achieve an A for the subject, right? And then also guide the student how to use AI to help in the process of studying for the subject. So you have to type in, you have to give the AI the so-called who aspect, so who they are. So specialized teacher, knowledge over 10 years of experience, blah blah blah. Next, you have to give some context. You want to get an A, not a B. And then lastly is to include the AI portion to how do you use AI to help you study for the subject. So we're gonna type this, right? Gonna give you the prompt, the outcome here, right? So this whole chunk of text, it provide all the syllabus, the breakdown, the assessment objectives. So what you need to do is you have all of this information, all right? You have all of this, all right? You're gonna save it to your Google Docs, okay? Just copy and paste, just just do this, or you can go to the copy clipboard thing all the way at the bottom, right? Save it to your Google Docs, right? So this will be your notes, right? So what the duration, the weightage, the section, the AOs, which is assessment objectives, uh, what you need to do, the weightage percentage, the syllabus, the key understandings. You have all of these things, right? You just generate everything, right? Generate, go all the way here. Okay. Now, this is the part where it's quite important is to how to use AI to help you in the studies, right? So it help you with the content elaboration and simplification, generating practice questions, helps you brainstorm and helps you get the source analysis, summarization, clarifying doubts and concepts, right? So the AI will help you cover up those gaps where you do not understand those concepts, right? So when studying for the social studies exam, you have to incorporate AI. It would be much easier and much faster to absorb the key information that is required. Okay. then it will generate more and more. Okay. Next, after the first prompt, you have to type in another prompt, which is to give a full in-depth explanation of all chapters in social studies and include all key concepts. So why do you need to do the first prompt in the beginning? You have to give the AI the so-called the base. So the base is, which is all of this stuff here. Okay, you have to give them the base first, which is the first prompt. After that, you're going to continue with the second prompt, which will utilize all the context, the information, the key details in the first prompt, and they'll use it in the second prompt, which will go all the way here. It will be more in-depth, right? So the key understandings, this is for issue 1. They'll have more elaboration, right? You generate. Okay, you generate a lot of the things here, all the keywords, right? How can we work together and stuff like that. Issue 2, right? And so on and so forth. All right. After we have done the second prompt, right? This is totally up to you. You can ask for real life examples for a specific concept of an issue, right? So for example, you want to use for issue 1, for the students to use in section B, which is the essay portion. So totally up to you. You can ask them to generate. They'll give you a lot of examples, and then you have to memorize the examples. That portion, then there's no way helping it. You gotta learn how to memorize. But yeah, really simple examples that you can memorize. Like you can use the national pledge. You can use Singapore Police Force. Just remember the examples, the elaboration portion, HDB, public housing, stuff like that. Okay, so now once you have generated the second prompt already, we're going to go on to the third step. Okay, we're going to go on to the third step, which is to generate uh, slides for you to help you study. So the third step is to go to this website called Gamma, right? Gamma.app, which is basically AI to help you generate slides and other stuff, right? So I'm not going to go through the tutorial of how to use this. I'm pretty sure they will tell you the tutorial, but all you need to do is just need to paste that whole chunk of text, right? Where's the text? You just go here. You see this 2 squares. Copy the response and paste it into Gamma.app, the AI, and then you can customize how you want to do the slides. I choose 10 slides. You generate, and then boom, you get all the slides here, right? So that's the third step. Now we're gonna go on to the actual guide, right? So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is a presentation of Social Studies Syllabus 2261. It is basically a full in-depth guide of all chapters and all key concepts with respect to all the different information done in the Gemini AI. Okay, so we're going to talk about issue 1, which is exploring citizenship and governance. So the issue focuses on the responsibilities of citizens and the government in working for the good of society and how these roles complement each other. So what is the inquiry focus? So the inquiry focus is working for the good of society. Whose responsibility is it? In issue 1, they'll cover several key understandings, which is as follows. Citizenship is varied and complex, which means that being a citizen is not just about the legal status, such as holding the passport. It also encompasses the identity of the person, how one identifies with the nation, their shared values, which includes their common beliefs and principles, and civic participation, which is active involvement in community and national affairs. The next key understanding is that government has important functions and roles, uh, which is maintaining order, providing for its citizens, and representing the nation. Right. The third key understanding is that different groups have differing needs, interests, and priorities, which leads to an unequal sharing of costs and often requiring certain trade-offs. So in any society with various groups, uh, which includes different socioeconomic classes, the rich, the poor, the different age groups, the ethnic communities, will have diverse requirements and goals. So this diversity uh, can lead to possible challenges in policy making, where fulfilling one group needs might come at a cost to another, and which can be comprise uh, of several trade-offs. Okay, then the last key understanding is that both citizen and government uh, can play complementary roles, which highlights the idea that a thriving society results uh, from a collaborative effort between the citizen and the government, which contribute their own, respective capacity. So we're gonna go on to guiding questions and key concepts. So some of the key words that you need to use in the examination if it's related to issue one, which is legal status, right? Legal status is being a national of country with associated rights, which includes the being able to vote, uh, and also using public services and responsibilities such as national service and avoiding the obeying the laws of the constitution. Next is identity, which means that there's a sense of belonging and identification with the country, which can be shaped by shared history, culture, or values. And the third key word is shared values. This includes beliefs, common beliefs, principles, and ideals that bind the community or the country together. This includes several things such as multiculturalism, meritocracy, self-reliance, and the last key word is civic participation, which is the active involvement in public life and community issues, uh, which can uh, range from volunteering to express views on specific national policies. So this is the part where you need to memorize the keyword and you need to use the keyword in the examination, uh, because that will give you the marks and show that you have a key understanding of all the concepts that are being taught, right? Next, we're going to go on to the functions and roles of government. There's only three different points, which is the making and passing of the laws, which basically means that the legislating rules and regulations for the country through parliament, implementing and enforcing the laws uh, through the various ministries or the police, and lastly, which is interpreting and applying the laws, resolving disputes, ensuring justice through the judiciary system, right? So the roles of the government is basically to ensure the safety and security and make sure the country is stable, managing the economy, providing essential services such as the basic education, healthcare, housing, and the supporting vulnerable groups. Right, and the last point is just promoting and protecting national interests. Okay, which is safeguarding the sovereignty of the country, fostering international relations, and securing key resources. Okay, next we're gonna go on to deciding what is good for society. So how do we decide what is good for society? So there are different challenges, right? Which includes the differing needs and interests. So different groups have a distinct requirement and priorities, such as the businesses, which includes the SMEs or the environmentalists. So there are different groups in the country or the subgroups, and they all have different needs and interests. Okay, different priorities. So different groups prioritize something more important, and some other groups don't prioritize that as a important or as urgent. And there's also unequal share of costs, which that policies often have a financial or social cost attached to it, and that may not be evenly distributed across the population. So this will result in trying to manage the specific trade-offs, the necessity of making compromises between the different groups when different desirable outcomes cannot all be achieved at the same time. So these are some of the key challenges you need to memorize because they'll usually ask for like the good and the bad. So you gotta remember the bad ones also. The next one would be principles shaping the governance uh, in respect to Singapore context, which includes good leadership, right? The leadership has to be competent, honest, and have a visionary mindset, anticipating change and staying relevant, being more proactive and adapting to global situations and local shifts, having a stake for everyone. This means that ensuring the citizens feel invested in the country and have a lot of opportunities to improve. And lastly, which is meritocracy, which basically is the advancement based on the ability and effort of the individual and not on background or connections. So how can we work together for the good of society? There are three main points, which is addressing the needs of the society, right? The collective efforts by the citizens, the groups, and other the government bodies to meet the societal needs. Influencing decision making, citizens provide feedback, engaging in dialogue, and participating in public consultations. And lastly, to strengthen the sense of belonging, which is to foster the national identity and cohesion through shared experiences, values, and community engagement. Okay, so now we're going to go on to issue two, which is living in a diverse society. So this issue explores the complexity living in a diverse society with the varied identities and backgrounds, emphasizing the importance of harmony and how individuals and government can promote it. So we're going to take a look at the inquiry focus, which is to live in a diverse society. Is harmony achievable? So there are a few key understandings. The first one, which is that identities are diverse and complex. So people's identities are shaped by multiple factors beyond just nationality, right? Leading to a rich tapestry of different backgrounds within a single society. The next one is that living harmoniously means respecting the differences and appreciating commonalities. So harmony is not about uniformity, but about coexisting peacefully by acknowledging the valuing diverse identities while also recognizing shared values and experiences. Right, the last key understanding is that people respond to diversity in various ways to achieve harmony, and there are different approaches both from the individuals and the government to manage diversity and to prevent conflicts. So if we can take a look at the guiding questions and key concepts. So what are the factors that shape the identities of people and contribute to a diverse society? So there are four main categories, which the first one is race and ethnicity. This includes shared ancestry, culture, traditions, and physical characteristics. Religion, this includes the beliefs, practices, and moral codes. For example, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, and the third main category is nationality, so which is the basically the legal belonging to a particular country, right? And last but not least, which is the socioeconomic status, uh, based on income, occupation, education, and wealth. So, what are the experiences and effects of living in a diverse society? There are positives and negatives. So, we take a look at the positive, uh, includes cultural exchange and appreciation. So, there are opportunities to learn from and enjoy different cultures, leading to a richer society. This includes foods, festivals, and the art scene. There's also exchange of knowledge and skills, which benefits from diverse perspective and expertise in various fields, fostering innovation and economic growth. However, there are also challenges, which includes the stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination. So stereotypes basically means there's an oversimplified and often negative generalization about groups of people. Prejudice is a preconceived negative opinion or attitude towards a group. Discrimination is basically the unfair treatment of an individual based on their group affiliation. And another challenge is also the competition for resources, which could be a potential for tensions or conflict when diverse groups compete for limited resources like housing, jobs, or educational opportunities. So these are some of the key things in issue 2 that you need to memorize. Uh, the four main categories, which is this thing here, the positive effects and the challenges. These are really, really important if the exam talks about issue 2. Right. Next. So responding to a diverse society. So how can we respond to it? So there are various policies, which is the assimilation policies and integration policies. Right. So basically, assimilation policy, which is aimed to absorb a minority culture into a dominant culture, encouraging them to adopt the majority's way of life. And integration policies encourage different cultures to coexist while maintaining their unique identities, promoting interaction and mutual respect. So basically, in layman terms, assimilation basically means the big will eat the small, so the small will go into the so the small will become the majority, while the integration is trying to like a Venn diagram that have two groups and they try to coexist with each other. Uh, so these two groups, integration, assimilation policies is just one main group, right? So citizens and governments' responses to socio-economic diversity. Uh, there are various approaches, which includes government finance approaches. So the government can take a primary role in providing welfare, subsidies, and social safety nets to reduce inequality. And there are also shared responsibility approaches, which emphasizes that both the government and the individual, and sometimes also civil society, have a role in addressing the socioeconomic needs, often involving self-reliance and community support. Right, next, we could issue trade, right? We're going to talk about globalization. So this issue examines the interconnectedness of the modern world, the impact of globalization on various aspects such as the economy, the culture, and the security, and how countries and individuals can respond to these changes. So the inquiry focus is the being part of a globalized world. How can we respond to globalization? So we need to take a look at the key understandings, right? So the first key understanding is that globalization shapes the interconnectedness, right, and the interdependence amongst the countries and the people. So this refers to increasing the interconnectedness of the economies, cultures, and societies worldwide due to the flow of goods, services, capital, people, and information across the border. The next key understanding is that globalization creates impacts in the economy, culture, and security. So the globalization has a far-reaching effects. It can be both good and bad in these critical domains. And the third key understanding is that the impacts of globalization results in differing responses from the countries and people. And given these various effects, different nations and individuals adopt uh, diverse strategies to manage or leverage globalization. So some of the content and the key guiding questions and concepts. So what are the factors that contribute to globalization? So these are the main three categories, which is technological advancements in transportation, which includes faster and cheaper and more efficient options such as shipping and air freight, uh, which facilitates the movement of the goods and services and also people globally. And also there's technological advancement in digital technology, which includes the internet, the mobile communication, social media, which enable instant global communication and information flow, connecting to people and businesses. And the last main category is the growth of MNCs, multinational corporations. Large companies are operating in multiple countries to contribute to economic integration by establishing global supply chains, investing abroad, and distributing products internationally. So these are some of the key concepts that you need to memorize if the exams talk about globalization. Right. Next. So we're going to talk about the economic impacts of globalization. So how can we respond to the economic impacts? So the first economic impact, which is the growth and vulnerability for countries. So opportunities for economic growth through increased trade and investment, but there are also vulnerabilities which could in turn be global economic downturns or external shocks. The next one, which is employment opportunities and challenges for individuals. So with globalization, there will be new job opportunities globally through connected industries, but there are also challenges such as job displacement due to the rising automation or outsourcing through increased competition. So what are some of the responses? The two main responses, which is the government response through government support. So there are policies to attract foreign investment, support local industries and retrain workers and provide social safety nets. Uh, the second response is more of an individual aspect, which is the acquisition of knowledge and skill through that specific individual. So, which is continuously learning, upskilling, and remaining adaptable to a rise in a competitive and changing global market landscape. So next, we're going to talk about cultural and security impacts of globalization. So how can we respond to the cultural impacts? Right. So there are a few cultural impacts, which is the spread of culture, uh, which is the diffusion of cultural elements such as music, fashion, food, and entertainment across borders, leading to global cultural trends. But there are also dilution of culture, uh, which sparks concerns that local or traditional cultures may be overshadowed or eroded by dominant global cultures. So some of the responses, so they can either be the acceptance or the rejection. Some individuals or societies can embrace these cultural influences. However, there are some that will reject this and they will actively resist to preserve their local traditions. So this can range from cultural hybridization to protectionist uh, measures, right? So next, we're going to talk about how can we respond to security impacts of globalization. So some of the security impacts include transnational terrorism. So terrorist groups leverage on global networks and communication, and specific financial systems operate across borders. There's also an increase in cyber threats through globalization, which includes malicious activities such as cyber attacks, data breaches that exploit interconnectedness of a digital system globally. So, what are some of the responses to this? So, the first one would be individual vigilance, which is being aware of potential threats, reporting suspicious activities. Next would be government security measures, which include enhanced border controls, intelligence sharing, counterterrorism operations, and cybersecurity initiatives. And last but not least, which is international cooperation, which includes the collaborative efforts between countries to address global threats that no single nation can tackle alone. So, in conclusion, this is the full guide of social studies, talking about citizenship, diverse society, and lastly, globalization. So, this covers the essential aspects of social studies syllabus 2261, providing a strong foundation, right, which is citizenship and governance, living in a diverse society, and being part of a globalized world. So, make sure that once you have done all of this, when you generate the slides for this, you can either print it out in a color format so that you can take notes and write some notes, or you can save it to a tablet. If you have a tablet, right, you can use your digital pen. You save your slide which you have made using the AI. Save it. You can circle key points. You can underline certain things, and to help you with your studies for social studies. So this is basically all there is to social studies. We have covered everything that you possibly would need to know, all the key words and the key concepts. All you need to do is once you have generated your deck of slides through the AI, do your best to memorize it, understand the key points and the concepts, right? So for the section B, which is the essay, you can always go back to Gemini, right? Just write down the sources, right? For a specific chapter you want to talk about. So try to memorize some of the examples. Uh, you can always search it in AI. You can look at Channel News Asia. There are a lot of options, and yeah. So my name is Julian. I hope you enjoyed this video of the social studies full guide, which utilizes AI to help you understand the concepts and also help you in your studies for this subject. Right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys uh, find this helpful and useful. If you find it, good, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we're gonna talk in another video. All right, take care, everybody.